3 monitors. On the middle one, an orbital model, a red dot, a trajectory that had been going the wrong way for the last 12 hours. Gino worked at the Korea Astronomy and Space Science Institute, KASI Junior Analyst, 29 years old. The job was boring, like sitting through nights looking at data that usually did not change. Usually, he stood up, went to the window, Seoul below, night, calm, lights, cars. An ordinary Friday. He returned to the monitor. Asteroid 2024-KX7. Officially Osturi. A passing object, not a threat. A report from 2 months ago. 2 months ago, true. Now, no. Gravitational disturbance from Jupiter. Small. Unnoticeable if you did not look carefully. Gino looked carefully. He dialed his senior's number. 3 rings, 4. Hello. A sleepy voice. Park Baksa, have you looked at the data on 2024-KX7 for the last 6 hours? Gino, it's 3 in the morning. Have you looked? No, what happened? The trajectory has changed. A deviation of 18 degrees. The new calculation shows contact with the surface. A long silence. Are you sure about the calculation? I checked 4 times. Where is the contact? Gino looked at the screen. Antarctica, Eastern Shelf. In 22 hours, silence on the line. Long. Gino, do not tell anyone, for now. I am calling the director. The connection cut off. Gino stood by the monitor. 22 hours, Antarctica. He knew what that meant. Not for Antarctica, for everything. The East Antarctic Shelf. 3 kilometers of ice. The largest mass on the planet. If an impact of that force, stop, not if, when. He closed the program, opened another. Climate change forecast. Object mass, 2.3 gigatons. Speed, 22 kilometers per second. Angle, 34 degrees. The model calculated for 12 seconds. Produced a result. Gino read it. Twice. Stood up, took his jacket. Keys, left the office. In the corridor, no one. 3 in the morning. In the elevator, he looked at his reflection. Thought about one thing. 22 hours until impact. And a little more after, while it was still possible to move. He had to make it in time. An old Kaya pride. He drove home through empty Seoul. Thought, fact 1. Asteroid 2024-KX7. 2.3 gigatons. This was not the destruction of the planet. The planet would survive. But an impact into the eastern shelf would destroy the structure of the ice. Cracks, kilometers long. The ice would go into the ocean. Result, tsunamis along all coasts. Dust in the atmosphere, millions of tons of material. Sunlight gets blocked. The temperature starts falling. Fact 2. Permafrost, Siberian, Antarctic. Layers of ice that froze mammoths, woolly rhinoceroses, giant deer, so quickly that they were preserved almost whole. 3 years ago, a classified report from a Russian Arctic expedition. It reached Gino through a colleague by accident. Mammoth tissue samples from a core at a depth of 60 meters. Living cells. Not just preserved, metabolically active under certain temperature conditions. The report was closed quickly. The colleague was transferred. Gino remembered. Fact 3. Temperature. Dust in the atmosphere. The sun goes away. The temperature falls. Slowly during the first weeks, then faster. According to his model, in 3 months, Seoul would have a stable minus 35. In 6 months, minus 50. An ice age. Not in 1,000 years. Now. He reached home, went up, turned on the light. The apartment, small, books everywhere, maps on the wall, a mountain backpack in the corner. He went hiking sometimes. He looked at the apartment. 22 hours until impact, then several days while civilization understands, then panic, chaos, cold. He has a window, small, but he has one. He sat on the floor, took out a notebook, wrote at the top, plan, and began writing, fast, without stopping. Everything he knew, survival, cold physics, biology, construction. 3 years of mountain hikes, 2 years of climate data, 29 years of life, all into one page. He wrote until dawn. The list was ready. Not beautiful, practical. Arrows, crossed out parts, corrections. Priorities. 1. Get out of the city. Today, before impact. While the roads are clear. 2. Find a place. A specific one. 3. Supplies. tools. The place he knew where. 3 years ago. A hike in the Jirisan Mountains. 4 days. On the second, he got slightly lost. Came out to an old forester's cabin, abandoned for about 20 years. Wooden, sturdy, stone foundation. On a mountain slope. Protection from the wind. Forest around and firewood. A stream 50 meters away. He recorded the coordinates then, just in case. Just in case had come. 8 in the morning, he left the house. Seoul, ordinary. People going to work, coffee shops opening, school children, an old woman with a cart. No one knows anything. In 18 hours, impact. He entered a large supermarket, methodically, according to the list. Food, rice, 20 kilograms. Canned food, 30 cans. Tuna, beans, corn, salt, 5 kilograms. Sugar, 3. Vegetable oil, 6 liters. Flour, 10 kilograms. Powdered milk. Medicine, antibiotics. Asked the pharmacist without a prescription, they gave part of it. Painkillers, bandages, iodine, antiseptic. Activated charcoal, fever reducer. Tools, axe, steel, long handle, handsaw, hammer, nails, 3 packs, rope, 50 meters. Expanding foam, 10 cans. Silicone, 5 tubes. Construction tape, plastic film. Lighters, 20 pieces. Matches in a waterproof container. Tourist fire striker. Flashlights, 3. Batteries, candles, knife, hunting, large. Sharpening stone. Clothing, thermal underwear, 3 sets. Wool socks, 10 pairs. Gloves, 3 pairs. Balaclava, ski mask, down sleeping bag for -40. At the hardware store, insulation, mineral wool, foam sheets, cordless drill with 2 batteries. And, most important, a potbelly stove, small, steel, with a pipe. This one, Gino said to the salesman. Will you buy the pipe separately? 3 meters and elbow joints. At home. Final preparations. Mountain backpack, 60 liters. He packed the most important things. Laptop, charger, 3 charged power banks, maps, survival manuals. Downloaded 3 years ago. Read as a hobby. He stopped by the door. Turned around. The apartment, books, coffee machine, sofa, a ficus on the windowsill. He went up to the ficus. Watered it. Why? He did not know himself. He left, closed the door, left the key in the lock outside. No one to return it to. Gyeongbu Highway, heading south. Radio, ordinary news, weather, politics. About the asteroid, nothing. The government was silent. At 21:47, Gino was already driving beyond Seoul. The radio changed. Emergency message. The Korea Meteorological Administration reports an unusual atmospheric phenomenon in the southern hemisphere. Gino turned the volume down, looked at the sky through the windshield. Clear, stars. In a few hours, there would be no stars. At 22:31, an emergency signal. Attention, everyone. The government of the Republic of Korea reports, at 22:14, a collision of a large celestial body with Antarctic ice was recorded. The population is advised to remain calm. Gino turned off the radio. That was it. Now panic. In 6 hours, people would start leaving Seoul. In 12, the roads would stop. He had a 6-hour head start. He pressed the gas. Jirisan. He abandoned the car at the edge of a forest road. Farther, yet off-road, he got out. -3. An ordinary November, still ordinary. The sky, a little different. The stars slightly hazier than they should be. The first dust in the upper layers of the atmosphere. Only he sees it, because he knows what to look for. In a week, everyone will see it. He put on the backpack, took a heavy bag. The rest, several trips. He went into the forest. The flashlight struck into the darkness. Pines, oaks, old, snow on the ground, 5 centimeters. He walked from memory. 3 years had passed him, he remembered. Forked oak, down the slope, stream, cross it, there. 40 minutes with a load, found it. The flashlight beam across the walls, log walls, dark from time. The roof was metal, rusted, but intact. The door was wooden, crooked, but holding. He pushed. It opened with a creak. The flashlight beam moved around the room. One room, 5 by 6 meters, wooden floor, a small window, then boarded up. Old table, broken chair, remains of a metal pipe from an old stove. The smell, its wood, dampness, time. Gino stood in the middle of the cabin, thought. Here, this, home. He set down the backpack, took out the large flashlight, examined the walls methodically. Gaps between the logs. There were some. Expanding foam. First, window, seal it, film and insulation. Floor, cardboard, film, mat. Cold comes from below. Stove, install it. Pipe through the wall. Firewood, forest nearby. Endless resource. Water, stream 50 meters away. In winter it will freeze. Cut a hole. Food, brought it. 3-4 months with economy. Safety, a separate issue. Big. He returned to the car. 3 trips, carried everything. By 7 in the morning, all the load was in the cabin. He sat on the backpack, ate tuna from a can, cold. Outside the window, dawn was breaking. The sky, gray, not just cloudy, heavy, different. Dust already in the atmosphere. It begins. November 16th. Woke up at 8. Slept for an hour right on the backpack. The body simply switched off by itself. Washed with snow. Sharp cold. Wakes you well. Work list. Methodically, by priorities. 1. Seal the gaps. 2. Install the stove. 3. Chop firewood. 4. Reinforce the door. 5. Check the roof. He took the first can of expanding foam. Worked methodically. Every gap, found it. Blew from outside to check the draft. Filled it. 3 hours. 3 cans. The cabin became quieter. The wind outside was almost not felt. Good. The stove. He placed it in the center of the room. Not by the wall, the metal would heat up, the wood would catch fire. Safer in the center, heat more even, pipe through the wall, with a drill and chisel, an hour of work. Let it outside, fastened it. Joints, expanding foam and electrical tape. He lit it for the first time. Dry logs from previous residents, found under the shed outside. The fire caught, heat came. Gino crouched by the stove, looked at the fire for a few seconds. For the first time in 2 days, exhaled. Then he got up and went for firewood. Forest, axe in hand, dead standing wood. That is what was needed. Living trees are wet inside, burn badly. Dead standing wood, dead trees standing on the root. Dry, burn excellently. Found the first one. It fell after 6 blows. Cut off the branches, split it into blocks. Hands, unaccustomed. No calluses. After 20 minutes, palms burned. Calluses will appear now. In a week, they will roughen. In a month, the hands will become different. He worked. By 3 o'clock in a small stack by the cabin. For a day or 2. Every day you need to chop. This, the law of winter survival. There is no such thing as too much firewood. Evening. He sat by the stove. Laptop on his knees. Opened the internet. The signal was weak, mobile, still working. News, headlines, scale of the catastrophe in Antarctica. Scientists are at a loss for words. Tsunami reached New Zealand and Argentina. Thousands dead climatologists. Temperature will begin to fall within 2 to 3 weeks Seoul. Mass departure from the city? Roads are stopped. The next headline made him stop. Russian scientists report cracks in the East Antarctic shelf have reached a depth of 300 meters. What is in the ancient layers of ice is not yet known 300 meters. He thought about the classified report, about living cells, about what is in Pleistocene ice 3 kilometers deep. 300 meters on only the beginning. Closed the laptop, looked out the window. Dark, forest, snow. Quiet. Quiet for now. November 20th, 5 days. The cabin had changed. The walls were caulked. The window was closed with 3 layers. Film outside, mineral wool, film inside. Dark, but warm. The floor, 4 layers. Feet do not freeze. The stove works properly. The stack of firewood by the wall is covered with film. Outside, the world had changed. Snow up to the knee. In 5 days, as much as usually in 2 months. The sky is constantly gray. There has not been sun once. Temperature, -8. 5th day, according to his model, in a month, -25. In 3, -40. Morning, he went out for firewood. Morning round, a habit since the 3rd day. Every morning, check the perimeter. See what has changed. Listen to the forest. The forest. Information, sounds, tracks, birds. Everything says something. Today, the forest was silent. There were no birds at all. Gino stopped. When birds are silent, something is nearby. He looked at the snow by the trees, tracks, came closer. 3 toes, widely spaced, deep, a heavy animal, size of the print larger than his palm, much larger. Step, long, jump. The creature moved by jumping. 3-toed track, flat placement, like a reptile, three-toed, flat placement, long jump, significant weight. The track pressed deeply. He knew such a track, had seen it in books. Under other circumstances, he would not go for firewood alone without a weapon. Slowly, not sharply, he straightened. Looked around. Silence. Forest. No one. Quickly went to the cabin, took firewood by the wall, went in, closed the door, lay on his back on the floor, breathed. Three toes, reptile, heavy, fast. Antarctica, cracks. Already 300 meters. In 5 days, how much? Siberian permafrost, thawing. Now not slowly, sharply. What was in layers that were millions of years old? He knew what was there. Everyone knew from textbooks. It was just that no one thought it was relevant. He stood up, opened the laptop, found the news from the last 2 days. Read. Found it. Incident in Yakutia. Local residents report unknown animals in the forest. Video from Siberia. Creature of undetermined species spotted on highway South Korea. Tourists in Jirisan report unusual sounds in the night forest. The last line. Jirisan. This here. Closed the laptop. Stood up, went to the tools. Hunting knife. Took it. Fastened it to his belt. Axe placed by the door, at hand. Looked at what else there was. No rifle, no real weapon. Knife, axe, saw. Against what this is enough, it depends on what is outside, Gino thought. Need a weapon or reinforcement stronger than any weapon. The second is more reliable. November 21st. From dawn, work. Took a tape measure and notebook. Went around the cabin outside. Looked, thought, wrote. Log walls, old, dense, dark. Dry wood, strong. Good. Weak points? Door, wooden, single, old hinges. A strong blow will knock it out. Window, frame weak. Roof, metal. Will withstand snow. If something heavy jumps on top, unknown. Stone foundation, cannot dig under it. Good. First priority, door. Took it off the hinges, examined. Boards 3 centimeters, weak. By the shed, remains of old boards. Dry 5 centimeters, nailed a second layer across, crosswise. 8 centimeters plus cross-shaped reinforcement. Hinges, replaced. New, metal, powerful. Bolt. A piece of rebar from an old fence in the forest. Nailed with brackets. 2 bolts, top and bottom. Hung the door. Closed it, pushed from outside. It did not move. Second priority, window. Outside he nailed 3 horizontal beams. Thick stripped branches. Distance between them 20 centimeters. A grill, not decorative, practical. Third priority, perimeter. Went into the forest, chopped long straight branches, sharpened them below with the axe, stakes. Drove them around the perimeter around the cabin, 2 meters from the walls, every half meter. Between the stakes, rope, crosswise. To the ropes, cans with little stones inside. Alarm system. At night, if something enters the perimeter, rope. Rope, clatter of cans. The simplest alarm system, but it works. Worked until dark. By evening, the cabin looked different. Not a fortress, but not just a little house either. Laptop, last power bank charge for today. Might save it. Found a scientific article. 3-toed tracks of the late Cretaceous period. Comparative analysis. Read. 3 genera match the description. Velociraptor, small, fast, smart. Deinonychus, similar, slightly larger, and the third. At this line, he stopped. Utahraptor, the largest of the raptors, 2 meters tall, 300 to 400 kilograms. Jump, up to 8 meters. Speed, 60 kilometers per hour over short distances. Hunted in packs. Packs. Closed the laptop. Looked at the door. 2 bolts, 8 centimeters of reinforced wood, against 400 kilograms of pack predator that jumps 8 meters. Enough? Unknown. Need to find out before they come. And they will come. The tracks were fresh, November 23rd. At night, sound. He woke up the second time. The first, thought it was the wind. The second, understood. Not wind. Lay without moving, listened. The sound was low, rhythmic, distant, 300 to 400 meters. From the forest, not a roar, not a howl, something in between. Gino could not describe it more precisely. He had never heard anything like it. None of the living had heard it, because it was the sound of an extinct animal. He lay, did not move. Sound. 3 minutes. Quieter. Gone. Silence. Then, the alarm system. 1 ring. Short. From the northern side. Something touched the rope. Gino lay and did not breathe. Seconds. Nothing. Then, steps outside. Heavy. Rhythmic. Moving away to the east. It passed by. Checked. Scented. Passed by. He lay until dawn. Did not sleep. Thought. 1 creature at night. Checked the perimeter. If it is a raptor, a loner does not hunt. So a scout. So, the pack is nearby. This changed everything. In the morning, he went out carefully, axe in hand, slowly, looked in all directions. Northern side. 1 rope touched, peg tilted, snow near it crushed, track, 3 toes, size, with his palm with spread fingers. Stride width, 2 meters, Utahraptor. Gino straightened, looked at the forest, quiet, snow, pines, somewhere there. A pack, hungry, frozen, disoriented in a new world. And a cabin with the smell of a living human. Returned inside, sat down, took out the notebook. Wrote, problem, predators nearby. Options, 1. Leave, where? Snow up to the knee. A week of work lost, new place unfamiliar. 2. Stay and reinforce. Pros, familiar place, work done. Cons, pack of raptors. 3. Eliminate the threat. No weapon, 1 person, unrealistic. 4. Lead the threat away. What keeps predators away? Fire, smell, sound. Gino looked at the word fire. Reptiles and fire, instinctive fear, evolutionary, even if they had never encountered it. Torches along the perimeter, constant, especially at night. Requires a lot of firewood. But possible. Wrote the plan, stood up, took the axe, went for firewood. A lot of firewood. November 24th, he was chopping firewood when he heard it. Not an animal, a voice, human. Quiet, weak, from the east. Dropped the axe, took the knife. Went carefully. 50 meters from the cabin. Ravine, snow in it deeper. In the ravine, a figure, small, came closer. Child, about 12 years old, boy. In a school jacket, blue, thin, completely unsuitable. Sneakers, no backpack, nothing. Lying on his side in the snow. Breathing and steam from his mouth. Bent down. Hey. The boy opened his eyes. Cloudy, early stage hypothermia. Can you stand? Tried? Could not. Gino took him, about 30 kilograms, lifted him. Carried him to the cabin, fast. Snow made it hard to walk fast. He walked fast, brought him in. Laid him by the stove, stoked it stronger, removed the boy's wet jacket and sneakers, wrapped the sleeping bag around him. Boiled water, hot sweet tea, lifted the boy slightly, gave him to drink. He drank, slowly, greedily. Looked at Gino. What is your name? Lee Suyeon. Voice hoarse, weak. How old are you? 12. Where did you come from? From Hamyang, town at the foot. It was no longer possible to stay there. Why? The boy looked at him. Eyes? Serious, not childish, having seen things. There were animals there. Big. Came at night. 2 people from our block. Did not finish. Did you leave alone? No, there were 4 of us. The voice trembled. Then 3. Then, I was alone. In the forest at night, 1 of us. Again, did not finish. Gino was silent. Did not hurry him. Then, quietly, you are safe now. Suyeon looked at him. There are tracks here too. I saw them on the way. Big. 3-toed. I know. Are you not afraid? I am afraid, Gino said. But I am preparing. The boy looked at him, then closed his eyes. Fell asleep. Gino sat by the stove opposite the sleeping child, looked at the fire, thought. There had been 1, now 2. This changed something. He took the notebook, corrected the first line. It was 1. It became 2. Underlined it twice. Put the laptop on his knees, checked the internet 1 last time. The signal was dying completely. 1 headline, he saw before the signal disappeared for good. Seismologists record unexplained underground tremors in the region of Siberia and the northern part of the Korean peninsula. Possible cause? Collapse of underground ice layers at great depths. Gino looked at the dark screen. Underground layers? Collapse. This meant one thing. The cracks were going not only from top to bottom, they were going from bottom to top too. From inside the earth where no warmth had reached for millions of years, now it was reaching. He stood up, went to the door, opened it by a centimeter. Night. Forest. Already minus 14. Quiet. But a different silence. Not the one that had been a week ago. That silence was empty. Just an absence of sounds. This one, dense. As if the forest held its breath. As if waiting. Closed the door, slid both bolts. Lay down on the mat beside the boy. Knife in hand. Axe by the door. Looked into the dark ceiling. There in the forest. A pack. Hungry? And now 2 people in a cabin that smelled of food and warmth. They will come. The question is not whether they will come. The question is when. Gino closed his eyes. Ordered himself to sleep. After 3 minutes, he was asleep. That kind of character, he knew how to switch off when needed. Panic does not prepare. Rest prepares. The alarm system went off at 2:14. Not one can, 3 at once, from different sides. Gino woke instantly, not gradually, immediately, completely, sat up, knife in hand, dark. The stove was burning out, coals, weak red light. Suyeon unwoke up too, sat and looked at Gino. Did not cry, did not ask, just looked and waited for what to do. Good, smart boy. Gino raised his hand, quiet. Suyeon nodded, listened. Outside, movement, not one creature, several. Steps, heavy, rhythmic, fast. They circled the cabin, not chaotically, methodically. Reconnaissance. The pack was studying the perimeter. Gino stood up. Without rushing, sudden movements were bad now. Went to the stove, threw in 2 logs. The fire flared up. Heat, not the main thing now. Light, the main thing. Went to the wall, found by touch what he had prepared in advance. 3 torches. Thick branches wrapped with cloth soaked in oil. Simple, practical. Lit the first from the stove. It flared up. Looked at Suyeon, showed, hold it. The boy took the torch. Hands did not tremble. Gino lit the second, took it himself, went to the door. Outside, the steps slowed. The creature sensed the light, saw it through the gaps, or sensed the smell of fire. Then, one sound, low, throaty, not a roar, not a command. And immediately, a blow to the door. The cabin shuddered. Dust from the ceiling. Gino stood by the door, did not step back. Second blow, stronger, the bolt held. But the wood creaked. Third blow, and something outside leaned against the door, with weight. Gino saw how the boards bent inward, slowly, centimeter by centimeter. Then he opened the upper shutter. A small opening in the door that he had made 3 days ago. For this case, not exactly for this, just in case. Push the torch into the opening. Outside a different sound. Sharp, hissing. The pressure on the door dropped instantly. Steps back, fast. Gino held the torch in the opening, did not remove it. Silence. Then, steps again. Farther, very far. They were leaving. Waited 5 minutes. Silence. Removed the torch, closed the shutter, turned around. Suyeon stood in the middle of the room with the torch. Looked at Gino. They left? Quietly. For a while, Gino said. Sat on the floor. Back against the door. Breathed. Hands, calm. Heart, fast. But calm hands. That is important. When hands are calm, you can think. The rest of the night, they did not sleep. Gino added firewood to the stove every hour. Light did not put it out. 2 torches by the wall, in case. Suyeon sat beside him, asked questions. Not like a child who is afraid, like a person who needs information. What was that? Raptors, Gino said. Most likely Utah raptors, large. Are there many of them? At least 3, by the sounds of the steps, maybe more. They will come back. Yes, but they are afraid of fire. That is the main thing we know. Why are they afraid? Instinct. Their ancestors lived millions of years ago. Fire was death. Forest fires, volcanoes. It is in the genetics. Soo-yeon thought. So fire needs to be always there. At night, yes. During the day, visibility is better. Reaction is faster. Will there be enough firewood? Gino was silent. For several weeks at this consumption? No. Need to chop more, every day. Soo-yeon looked at him. I will help. Do you know how to chop firewood? No. But I will learn. Gino looked at the boy. 12 years old, school jacket. Came through the forest alone at night. 3 from the group did not make it. Good, Gino said. You will learn. November 25th. In the morning, they went out together. Gino ahead with the axe. Soo-yeon behind with a knife. He gave him a spare one, small but sharp. They inspected the perimeter. Tracks all around the perimeter. Deep. Size. Larger than yesterday's. Gino counted 4 different track sizes, 4 individuals minimum. On the northern side, additional tracks. Someone had stood here for a long time. The snow was trampled. An observer. They were not just attacking, they were studying. This is worse than just hungry animals. Gino looked at the tracks, thought. Soo-yeon stood beside him, also looked. They are smart, the boy said. Yes. In the textbook it said raptors were among the smartest dinosaurs. Brain to body size, high. Gino looked at him. You remember the textbook? I remember a lot. Soo-yeon said simply, without bragging, just a fact. Good, Gino said. That will be useful. They walked the entire perimeter, restored 2 ropes that had snapped, added more cans in the most vulnerable places. Then firewood. Gino chopped. Soo-yeon gathered branches, stacked them, carried them to the cabin. Small, but worked without complaints. After 2 hours, the stack had grown noticeably. During the day, Gino worked on torches, made 12 of them, for several nights. Oil, save it. Found a substitute at pine resin. In the forest, cut several branches, collected resin in a tin can, melted it by the stove. Resin burns well. The smell is sharp, but that is a plus. The smell of smoke and hot resin repels. Hung torches outside around the perimeter. Every 3 meters, drove in stakes, tied them. At night, light them one by one. Not all at once. Consumption, but alternate. Let them see fire constantly from any side. Soo-yeon watched how he worked. Can I make more? What exactly? The boy was silent. Thought. Traps, as he finally said. Not to kill and to scare. If they are afraid of fire and sound, we can make the sound automatic, without us. Gino stopped. Looked at the boy. Explain. A rope is stretched low. Cans are tied to it that already exists. But if a torch is tied to the same rope, which flips over from the pole and falls into a pit with burning coals, the fire will flare up by itself, without us. Gino looked at him. How old are you? 12. I already said. That is a good idea, Gino said. I know, Soo-yeon said. They worked together until dark. Soo-yeon explained. Gino implemented it. The 12-year-old's hands could not manage the stakes and rope. 3 automatic traps around the perimeter. The principle was simple. A pull on the rope. The torch falls into a brazier made of earth and coals. A flare of fire and sound. They tested it. Soo-yeon pulled the rope. The torch fell. Coals scattered. A small flare. Not huge, but sharp. Sudden. For night. Enough. It works, Soo-yeon said. It works, Gino agreed. The boy smiled. For the first time the whole time. Quickly. Almost unnoticeably. But smiled. November 26th. Gino was chopping firewood 100 meters from the cabin. Soo-yeon, by the cabin. They agreed. The boy does not go farther than 20 meters. If something happens, he shouts. Once, Gino chopped. Listened constantly. In the background, forest, wind, branches. At the 16th minute, he heard. Not the pack steps of raptors, something else. Snow under heavy feet. 2-legged, slowly, tiredly. A person. Gino lowered the axe. Did not drop it. Held it. Turned. From behind the trees, a man, about 45. Tall, large. Military jacket, real, dark green, army. Tactical vest over it. Behind his back, a large backpack. On his belt, a military-type knife. In his hands, nothing. Hands slightly raised. visible and deliberately, showing that he is not a threat. Face and overgrown, 3 to 4 days of stubble. Eyes, tired but clear, stopped 10 meters away. "I see the cabin," he said, voice low even. "Saw the fire at night, walked here for 2 days." Gino looked at him. "Alone?" "Alone." "From where?" "From the north. Was in a field camp when everything started." Military reservist, Sergeant Bae Gonchan, former. "Do you have a weapon?" "Honest," considered. "Pistol, 14 rounds." "Anything else?" "Knife, that's all." Gino was silent for a second, looked at the man. "Military training. Tactical vest? Means he is used to carrying equipment systematically." Raised his hands immediately, knows how to behave when meeting a stranger. Told about the pistol honestly, could have not said it. "By Gonchan," Gino said. "My name is Choi Gino." "Go to the cabin. There is hot food there." Bae lowered his hands. "Thank you." "Too early to thank," Gino said. "First we talk. Cabin. 3 people by the stove." Soo-yeon looked at Bae Gonchan attentively, not fearfully and evaluatively. Bae ate rice porridge, hot, ate slowly, carefully, not greedily. Habit. Soldiers eat slowly. "They know the stomach after hunger has to be accustomed," Gino observed. "What did you see on the way?" he asked. Bae raised his eyes from the bowl. "A lot of things." "Specifically?" "First, raptors. 2 different species, small ones, packs of 7 to 10 individuals. Fast. Saw tracks and once the creatures themselves. Large ones, another story. Lone ones are pairs, slower but another size." "How large?" "1 track. I put a size 44 boot next to it." "My boot fit into the track 2.5 times. Silence in the cabin. Soo-yeon quietly, "That is not a Utah raptor." "No," Gino agreed. Bae looked at the boy, then at Gino. "Second, animals no one expected." Bae spoke evenly. "Mammoths, too. Saw them at a distance. They were going south. Not aggressively, I'm just walking. Frightened." "Mammoths are not predators," Soo-yeon said. "I know, but size. And if frightened, they crush everything underfoot without looking." Gino thought. "What else?" Bae was silent. Set the bowl aside. "Third, and this is worst of all. I was walking past the Seomjingang River. The ice on the river cracked. In the middle of the day. Not thin. Thick ice, December ice. Cracked from below." "From below." "From below," Bae confirmed. "I saw the ice rise from the middle of the river, then sink. Then something came out of the water." Silence. "What exactly?" Gino said quietly. "I do not know what it is called." Bae said. "Long, in the water. Neck long, almost like a giraffe's. Head small, body size, about 8 to 9 meters." Gino looked at him. Soo-yeon quietly. "Plesiosaur." "What?" Bae looked at the boy. "Plesiosaur," Soo-yeon repeated. "Marine reptile, Mesozoic. Lived in seas and freshwater bodies. So they can be in rivers, too." "Smart boy," Bae said. "I know," Soo-yeon said. Gino stood up, walked around the cabin, thought. "Raptors outside? That is solvable. Fire, reinforcement, traps. Something larger than a Utah raptor. That is another level of problem. A plesiosaur in the river, that means the stream near the cabin is now in question. The stream is fed from the Seomjingang through underground channels. Water, in question. This, urgent." "By Gonchan," Gino said. "Yes?" "You stay. Conditions are simple. We work together, share resources, decisions, joint. No one person commands alone." Bae looked at him. "You are not military," he said. "No." "But you speak like a person people are used to obeying." "Not obeying," Gino corrected. "Following a plan." "There is a difference?" Bae thought for a second. "Accepted," he said. "But you are right about water. That is first." "I know." Gino took the notebook. "Sit down. We will think. November 26th, second half of the day. 3 people at the table, Gino, notebook. Bei, a map of the area that he took out of his backpack. Military detailed. Soo-yeon looked at the map and memorized. Stream, Gino said. 50 meters from here, our main source. Is it fed from the Seomjingang? Bei asked. Most likely. Mountain stream, but underground channels are connected. If there is a large reptile in the river, it will not enter there. The stream is shallow, Soo-yeon said. 30 centimeters deep at most. A plesiosaur. No, Gino agreed. But small ones. Another question. If the permafrost is thawing everywhere, not only large ones are coming out. What in a shallow stream can be dangerous? Bei said. I do not know, Gino said honestly. Therefore, we changed the approach to water. What approach? Snow, Gino said. Snow is clean. Melt it in a pot. We get water. The stream, reserve. Use only if the snow runs out or freezes completely. Snow will freeze if the temperature drops below a certain level, Soo-yeon said. It will become ice. Then we need to chop ice and melt it. Correct. Gino wrote it down. Second, filtration. Any water from open sources and through cloth and charcoal? We have activated charcoal, Bei said. Opened someone else's backpack, and I looked. Here? Yes, in the first aid kit. How much? 2 large packets. For a month with regular use, Bei said. Then? Wood charcoal from the stove. Same principle. Worse, but works. Wrote it down. Third, reserve. Snow melts slowly in pots. Need to keep a water reserve inside, at least 3 pots, so we do not depend on the weather at a specific moment. Bei nodded. Reasonable? Fourth and main, Gino said. Going to the stream now, only in pairs. One takes water, the other watches. One alone never. Even me? Soo-yeon asked. Especially you. The boy was not offended. Nodded. Smart boy. Bei unpacked his backpack, laid the contents on the table methodically. Gino watched. Pistol, Daewoo K5, Standard Army, magazine, 14 rounds plus 1 in the chamber. Total 15. Knife, Army, good. Blade length, 15 centimeters. Food, dry ration, Army bricks, 8 pieces. Each for a day with economy. First aid kit, Army. More complete than Gino's. Tourniquet, suture material, injectable painkiller. Flashlight, headlamp, military. Batteries, 10 pieces. Thin Army sleeping bag for -20. Worse than Gino's. Coil of thin steel wire. Gino took the wire. Why did you bring it? Traps for small game, Bei said. Snares. Do you know how to set them? Yes. Good. Gino set the wire aside. This will be important later. Why later? Because first, more urgent. Gino stood up, went to the wall where a sheet of paper was nailed. The plan of the cabin and perimeter. Looked. We need to expand the fortification, Usty said. What we have works against raptors. But you said something larger, much larger. If it is what I think. Stakes and ropes will not stop it, Bei said evenly. I know. Gino looked at the plan. But there is something that will stop everything. What exactly? Fire not just on stakes, Gino said. Fire as a moat. Bei looked at him. Soo-yeon raised his head. A fire moat? The boy said. Not constant, Gino said. There will not be enough resources for that, but a ditch around the perimeter, 1/2 meter deep, 1 meter wide, filled with dry branches and resinous logs. In case of danger, set it on fire. The perimeter flares up. That will burn the cabin too, Bei said. Not if the distance is right. 3 meters from the walls, snow around the cabin. It will not let the fire cross. Only the ditch burns. Silence, Bei thought, slowly, thoroughly. Digging frozen ground? Difficult. I know, Gino said. That is why we start tomorrow. It is difficult anyway. The later, the harder. In 2 weeks, the ground will freeze 1 meter deep. Now, 30 to 40 centimeters. We will make it. Bei looked at the plan. How much time will it take? 3 days with 2 people working, Gino said. 2.5, Bei corrected. I dig fast. Agreed. Soo-yeon looked at both of them. I will dig too. You have another task, Gino said. What? While we dig, you watch the perimeter. Cans, ropes, torches. This is your zone, Soo-yeon thought. Accepted. At night, not raptors, something else. At 3 in the morning, Bai Gonshin sat by the window, on watch. They had agreed, in shifts, 2 hours each. Gino and Soo-yeon slept. Bai looked through the small gap between the boards of the window. Outside, dark. Torches around the perimeter. 3 were burning. Quiet. Snow. Then, the ground. Bai felt it before he heard it. Through the floor. Through his feet, vibration, small, rhythmic, growing. He stood up. Wake up, he said into the darkness. Not loudly. Gino woke at once. Bai noted this. Not everyone wakes like that. What? The ground is vibrating. Something is coming. Heavy. Gino stood up. Stood beside Bai at the window. They listened. The vibration grew stronger. Now not only through the floor, audible. Low rumble. Rhythm. 4 beats. 4 beats. 4 legs. Not raptors, Gino said quietly. No, Bai agreed. Took out the pistol. What do we do? Nothing. What? Quiet, do not move, do not put out the fire. Bai looked at him. If it wants to come in? If it wants to, with a pistol will not help. 15 rounds against something that weighs several tons. That is irritation, not a stop. Bai put the pistol away. Was silent. The vibration grew, then stopped. Very close, outside. 20 meters, silence. Soo-yeon woke up, sat quietly, listened. Outside, the sound of breathing. Loud. Heavy. Like a blacksmith's bellows. Slow. Something enormous stood outside and breathed. One of the torches at the perimeter went out. Apparently touched while passing. No one lit a new torch. They stood quietly. The breathing outside, slow. The creature was not in a hurry. Did not attack, just stood. 4 minutes. Then, vibration again. Moving away, slowly, to the north. After 10 minutes, silence. Real. No one spoke for another 2 minutes. Then Soo-yeon quietly. That was a mammoth. Bai looked at the boy. How do you know? 4 legs, step rhythm slow. Heavy animal. Breathing, loud, calm, not a predator. And they are going south. You said so yourself. Going south, Bai repeated. Why south? Warmer, Gino said. Instinct. Temperature drops. They go where it is still warmer. We need to go there too, Bai said. We need to stay here, Gino said. Why? Because warmer south, that is Seoul. Busan, big cities. There is panic there now, crowds, struggle for resources. Plus it's the same animals. Plus people who are more dangerous than any dinosaur when hungry and frightened. Bai was silent. Here, forest, cabin, resources. We know the threats. The unknown is always worse than the known. Bai thought for a long time. Agreed, he finally said. Gino nodded. Went to the stove. Added a log. 2 hours until dawn. My watch. Sleep. Bai lay down. Soo-yeon lay down. Gino sat by the window. Looked into the darkness. Thought about the mammoth. An animal that had survived one ice age millions of years ago. Survived? Then went extinct for other reasons. Now alive again. Cold again. A circle. Nature was making a circle, and people in this circle, just another animal. That needed to survive the winter. Gino looked into the darkness. Outside, snow fell quietly, -17, and it kept falling. November 27th, dawn, gray, thick. There was no sun again. Gino and Bai went out with shovels at 6 in the morning. Gino's shovel, a tourist one, folding, bought at E-Mart. Bai took an army entrenching tool out of his backpack. Short, but sturdy on a good steel. Soo-yeon wiped by the cabin, checked the perimeter, restored the cans, watched. They agreed. He does not shout without reason. 1 signal, suspicion. 2, danger. 3 quick ones, We go inside immediately. They started from the northern side. The ground frozen on top by 15 centimeters. The crust was hard. Under it, softer. Gino struck with the shovel. It bounced off. He struck harder. A crack went through. First, we need to break the crust, Bay said. Then dig. What breaks it faster? Axe. Gino took the axe. Bay, the entrenching tool flat. They began hitting the surface. The crust crumbled. Pieces of ice and earth. Slowly. But it was moving. After 2 hours, the first 5 meters of the ditch. Depth 30 centimeters, width 80. Not enough. It needs to be half a meter deep, Gino said. I know, Bay said. We work. They worked silently. Bay dug well, methodically, without unnecessary movements. It was clear he was physically trained. Gino, worse technically, but more enduring than he himself had expected. 3 years of mountain hikes had given something. At 10 in the morning, Suyeon brought hot tea, put the thermos at the edge of the ditch. Sati did not interfere, went back. Silently, Bay watched him go. An unusual boy, he said. Yes, Gino agreed. Where is he from? From the town below, reached here alone through the forest at night. 12 years old. Yes, Bay took the thermos, drank. My son is 12 too, he said evenly, without expression. Was in Seoul with his mother. Silence. Gino looked at him. Did you try to contact them? The phone has not worked for 4 days already. The network collapsed. When everything stabilizes? Nothing will stabilize, Bai said. Calmly, not angrily, it is just a statement. You know that better than me yourself. You are a scientist. You saw the models. Gino was silent. I know, he finally said. Then do not talk about stabilizing. Good, I will not. Bay finished the tea, took the shovel. We work. Noon. The ditch on the northern side, ready. 10 meters, half a meter deep, 1 meter wide. They started the eastern side, dug. On the 3rd meter of the eastern side, Bay Gonchin's shovel hit something different. Not stone. The sound was different, not a knock against something solid. More muffled, as if a hollow. Bay stopped. Gino! Yes? Did you hear? I heard. Both looked into the pit. Bay carefully removed the earth with his hands. Cleared it. Under the layer of earth, a surface. Dark, not stone, not ice. Wood. Old wood. Gino bent down, touched it. Dense. Not rotten, just very old. Dark from time and moisture. Logs, Bay said quietly. Yes, an old structure. Much older than the cabin, Gino said, judging by the condition. They exchanged glances. We dig further, Gino said. They cleared 2 meters along the logs. It took shape. A rectangle, a corner, more logs, something underground. Under the cabin or nearby. Something built. Basement, Bay said. Or the cellar, Gino said. Old, forgotten. Is that good or bad? Gino thought. Depends on what is inside. Afternoon. They put the ditch aside, took up the excavation, found an entrance. A wooden cover almost rotted on top, but still holding its shape. Size, meter by meter. Iron hinges, rusted but intact. Bay lifted the cover. Smell, earth, dampness, something else. Old air, dark below. Gino took the flashlight, shone it. Steps, wooden, 3 of them. Down, a small room, about 3 by 3 meters, earthen floor, earthen walls reinforced with logs. On shelves along the walls, objects. I go first, Gino said. I am heavier, else I'm more useful if something collapses, Bay said. Exactly why you stay outside. If it collapses, a heavy one is harder to pull out, Bay thought. Agreed. Gino went down. The steps held. Stood in the cellar. Looked around with a flashlight. Shelves, wooden, old. On them, clay pots with lids, several. Different sizes, metal tools, rusty. Sickle. Hoe. Something like a primitive trap. Wooden box, large, closed. Lock, rusted, but a lock. In the far corner, a stack of hides. Rolled up. Dark from time. Gino went to the pots, carefully removed the lid from one. Smell, sharp, Salty, shone the flashlight. Bei. Yes? There is salted meat here, Gino said. Meat in salt. Old, but possibly usable. Silence. How many pots? 9. That is supplies for several months, Bei said. If usable. We will check. Gino went to the wooden box, tried the lock. Rusted, gave way after 3 blows with the knife handle. Opened it, shone the flashlight, froze. In the box, bundles in cloth, many. Neatly arranged, unwrapped one. Metal, long, straight. Spearhead, forged, handmade, but high quality. Diamond-shaped cross-section, length 30 centimeters. Unwrapped the next, the same. The next, different. Wide blade, hatchet, small. The next, chain, iron, short, with a hook on the end. Gino, Bei said from above. What is there? Weapons, Gino said. Long silence. What kind? Old, hand-forged. But good iron. It does not rust quickly if stored properly. Heads? Spears, hatchets, chain with hook. Gino counted. 8 spearheads, 3 hatchets, 2 chains. Someone was preparing for something, Bei said quietly. Or just stored tools, eh? Gino said. These are not tools, these are weapons. Yes, Gino agreed. Weapons. Took the box, began lifting it, cabin. 3 people looked at the contents of the box. Soo-yeon took 1 spearhead, turned it around. The iron is good, yes, he said. Not steel, but hard, will not break. How do you know about iron? Bei said. Grandfather was a blacksmith, Soo-yeon said. Simply, I watched. Bei took the spearhead, examined it professionally. Put it on a shaft, we get a spear. 2-meter shaft, this head, a distance weapon. Against a small raptor, possibly effective. Against a large one, only if into a vulnerable spot. Vulnerable spots of raptors, Gino said. Looked at Soo-yeon. The boy thought, neck. Under the front limbs and the bones there are not as dense. Eyes. But they are fast, hitting. Difficult. Not attacking, Gino said. That is not the goal. The goal, scare away. A long spear with fire on the end, visually bigger and scarier. They are afraid of fire, and so a fire spear stops faster. Bei looked at him. Torch on a spear. Torch on a spear, Gino confirmed. Plus a real spearhead. Double threat. That works in open terrain, Bei said. In the forest, inconvenient. A long spear between trees. The ditch solves that, Gino interrupted. If the ditch burns, they do not approach the cabin. The spear. For cases when we are outside. Bei nodded. Logical. Soo-yeon was already quietly tying a shaft from 2 long sticks he had brought in advance. Tape and rope. Gino looked at him. The boy did not ask permission, just did it. That was a separate trait Gino was noticing more and more. Soo-yeon listened to everything. Memorized, then acted himself and did not wait for a command. Not because he was disobedient. Because he had understood before others what needed to be done. 12 years old, but not childlike. Something about this boy was unusual. Gino had not yet understood what exactly. Evening, the stove was burning, food. Hot rice with salted meat from the cellar. The salted meat, they checked cautiously. Smell, sharp but not rotten. Bei tried it first, military habit. They waited an hour, normal, ate the rest. Salt had preserved the meat. They sat. Ate. Bei looked at Soo-yeon. Hamyang, he said. You said you were there with a group. 4, then 1. Soo-yeon raised his eyes. Yes. What happened to the others? 2 left earlier. Got scared. I do not know where. The third, at night in the forest? He tripped and screamed. Voice even, without trembling. They came to the sound. Silence. You saw it, Bei said, not a question. Yes. And did not scream? No. Why? Soo-yeon looked at him directly. Because if I screamed, they would come for me too. I could not help him. I could only help myself. Silence, long. Bei looked at the boy. 12 years old, he said. You have already said that twice. Soo-yeon answered calmly. Age means nothing. Decisions. means something. Bei fell silent. Gino had looked into the fire. Thought. Something in the boy, not just a smart child. Too cold. Too decisive. Too systematic. Saw a person die nearby and did not scream. Not because he was heartless, because in the moment he calculated what mattered more. This is not child thinking. This is the thinking of a person who has seen extreme situations before. Gino looked at Soo-yeon. Soo-yeon. Yes? You have been in a similar situation before. Before all this. Not a question. A statement. The boy looked at him. For a long time. Yes, as he finally said. Tell us. Soo-yeon set the bowl aside. 3 years ago, I was 9. My father and I were in the mountains. A hike. A landslide happened. Father broke his leg. We were alone. 3 days to the nearest village. What did you do? Gino asked quietly. Made a splint from branches. Brought water. Made a fire. On the second day, I went to the village myself. Alone, along the mountain trail. Came back with people on the third day. 9 years old, Bei said quietly. Age means nothing, Soo-yeon repeated, without pathos, simply. Gino looked at the boy. That was what it was. Not just smart, not just well-read. He had already been through it, and on a small scale. Already knew what decides. Already knew about fear. That fear is not an enemy. Fear is information. Such people are rare. Gino had seen such people in finance. Analysts who do not panic in a crisis, not because they are unfeeling, because they had already lived through it inside us and came out. The boy at 12 years old, not already like that. Good, Gino said. Then you understand. What exactly? That here is not a hike, not 3 days. This is for a long time. I know. And you understand what that means. Yes. Soo-yeon looked straight. It means we need to build, not just hold on. Exactly. Gino nodded, went to the shelf, took a spare notebook, had bought 2, the second he had not opened. Handed it to Soo-yeon. He said. Write what you notice. Tracks, animal behavior, weather, everything that seems important. Soo-yeon took the notebook, looked at it. Like you. Yes? Information is survival. Not only axe and firewood. The boy opened the notebook, wrote at the top, Observations, Soo-yeon, Day 12, and began writing. November 28th, they worked on the ditch. Eastern side, almost ready. Southern, started. By lunchtime, Soo-yeon from the northern post. Someone is there. 2 signals. Danger. Both stood up instantly. Bei, pistol. Gino, fire spear at the spearhead, shaft, oiled cloth on the end. Lit it from the torch. They went out. Soo-yeon showed the direction. Northeast. Trees, they looked. Movement between the trunks. Slow, careful, not an animal. Too careful for an animal. Animals do not think to hide from people, yet. They have not learned yet. Human, Bei said quietly. We stand, Gino said. Wait, the figure from the trees stopped. Saw them, long. Then came out, a woman, about 35. Short. Dark hair, tucked under a knitted hat. Thick down jacket, dirty, torn on the sleeve. Behind her back, a small backpack. In her hands, nothing. Hands visible, empty. Face, tired, very, but gaze clear, tense. Looked at the 3 people. A man with a pistol, a man with a fire spear, a boy with a knife. Stopped 15 meters away. No one spoke. Then she, first, I am alone. I have been walking for 3 days. Saw fire at night. Voice hoarse, speaks with effort. Please, give me water. If you do not want to, I will leave. Gino looked at her. Movements, no unnecessary ones. Stands straight despite fatigue. Does not cry, does not beg. Speaks to the point. What is your name? Gino said. Yang Eun-seo. Where are you coming from? From Manhwa. Was in the hospital there, staff. When everything started, there were no patients left. I left. Doctor? Nurse, surgical department, 6 years. Bei slightly lowered the pistol. Gino looked at the woman. Surgical nurse, 6 years. Suture material from Bei's backpack. There is. But neither Jino nor Bei knows how to stitch wounds. Not for real. Soo-yeon can make a splint. But real medical help? No. If one of them is seriously hurt, without a medic, that is the end. Yoon-seo-si, Jino began. Corrected himself. Without Korean forms of address. Yoon-seo, go to the cabin. We will give water and food. The woman exhaled. Slowly, controlled. Not relief, release of tension. Went toward them. Coming closer, Jino saw the sleeve was not just torn. Under it, the fabric dark red. Arm, he said. Yoon-seo looked. Tree, branch, 3 days ago? Bandaged it myself. Show it inside. Cabin. Yoon-seo took off her jacket. Right forearm, bandaged with cloth. Tightly, skillfully. She herself was a medic, had bandaged it correctly. Unwrapped it. Wound, cut. 7-8 centimeters. Deep. Soo-yeon looked, frowned. There is inflammation. Yoon-seo said calmly about her own wound. A little, but the edges are clean, no pus. What do you need? Jino asked. Antibiotics, antiseptic, new bandages. Stitching would be good, but 3 days have passed. They do not stitch so late anymore. There are antibiotics, as Jino said. Went to the first aid kit, opened it. Yoon-seo looked at the contents. Good first aid kit. I tried. Amoxicillin, or will do. Took the pack. Herself. Without permission. 3 times a day, 5 days. The inflammation will go away. Bei stood by the wall, observed. Then, quietly to Jino. She treats her own wound as if it were someone else's. I see. Jino said quietly. No nerves or used to it. The second, Jino said. 6 years of surgery, saw everything. Her own wound, a small thing. Yoon-seo rebandaged her arm, carefully. With one hand, the left. With the right, she helped with her teeth to hold the end of the bandage. Familiar movements. Stood up, looked at everyone. What is here? How many of you? How long? 13th day, Jino said. 3. More precisely, there were 2, then 3. Now 4. Cabin, supplies, fortification, raptors nearby, a pack. Saw tracks on the way, went around. How did you go around? Went against the wind, Yoon-seo said simply. They hunt by smell first. If the smell is behind you, they will not scent you immediately. Bei raised his eyebrows. Did you know about raptors in advance? No, logic. Dogs work the same way, reptiles and 2. I just thought. Jino looked at her. 4th person, medic, surgical, practical, thinks while moving. Found the cabin by the fire, walked against the wind through the forest for 3 days, alone, survived. Yoon-seo, Jino said. Conditions are the same as for the others. We work together, resources are shared, decisions, discussed. No one commands alone. Understood. You need me as a medic. Yes. I need you as shelter and a group. Yes. Honest exchange. Yoon-seo nodded. I agree. Soo-yeon looked at her, then wrote something in the notebook. Yoon-seo noticed. What are you writing? Observations, the boy said. Every new person, observation. What did you write about me? Soo-yeon raised the notebook, read aloud. Yang Yoon-seo, medic, practical, thinks quickly. Does not panic, wound on right arm, does not complain. Trust cautiously, check over time. Yoon-seo looked at him. 12 years old? Already tired of answering that question, Soo-yeon said. Yoon-seo, for the first time, smiled. Briefly. Good. Turned to Jino. What are we doing now? Ditch, Jino said. Let's go. Second raptor approach. They expected it at 1 o'clock. Now they kept watch in turns, 4 of them, an hour and a half each. Yoon-seo was on duty, first shift. At 1:15, woke everyone, calmly, without panic. Cans, east and west at the same time. They got up quickly. Jino onto the western window. Bei to the eastern gap in the wall. Soo-yeon in the center. 2 fire spears ready. Outside, movement, but different than yesterday. Yesterday they went in the open, circled the perimeter without hiding much. Now, quiet. Very quiet. Jino listened. Steps, barely audible. As if deliberately, I'm slower, more careful. They remembered yesterday. Know that those inside react to noise. They move quietly. Bay, quietly. 2 on the east, moving along the perimeter, slowly. On the west, I do not see, Jino said. But the cans rang. Distraction, Soo-yeon said. Everyone looked at him. 2 from the west shook the cans, deliberately, drawing attention there. Main attack from the east. Or from the north. It is quiet there, too quiet. Bay, to the northern window. Looked through the gap. There is one, big. Standing by the perimeter, watching. Observing, Jino said. They are coordinating, Soo-yeon said evenly. These are not just pack animals, they act tactically. Silence in the cabin, no one answered. Because the boy was right, and it changed everything. Bay, Jino said quietly. The northern one, how close? About 7 meters, beyond the perimeter. Not moving? No, standing, looking at the cabin. Watching our reaction, Jino said. Looking where we look. They see the light from the gaps, Soo-yeon said. See shadows, understand roughly where we are. Jino thought quickly. Yeonseo, take a torch, stand by the southern wall, not at the window, by the wall, cast a shadow. Yeonseo took the torch, stood. Her shadow, onto the wall, onto the southern one. They will think someone is watching from the south, Soo-yeon said. Exactly. Jino to Bay. The eastern ones. What are they doing? One stopped. The second, slowly along the perimeter. Looking for a weak spot, Jino said. Remember where the ditch is unfinished? Southeast corner, Bay said. They will go there. The ditch there is only 20 centimeters, Soo-yeon said. They will jump. I know. Jino took the second fire spear, lit it. When they approach the southeast corner, I go out. Bay, sharply? No. Bay. One exit. If you go out, the door is open. I go out. I have a pistol. Pistol, noise, will attract the others. Torch will attract 2. Torch, what will scare away? Pistol, and will provoke. Bay looked at him. A second. You are right, he said. Cover from the door. If something comes, shoot into the air. The sound will scatter them. Understood. Jino. To the door. Soo-yeon grabbed his arm. Jino looked at the boy. Take resin, Soo-yeon said, held out the can. Splash it on the ditch if it is not burning. It will flare up better. Jino took the can, went out, outside at -20. A blow of cold, instant. The fire on the spear flared brighter in the wind. Jino moved quickly along the cabin. To the right, to the southeast corner. Saw 2 raptors. One at the very edge of the unfinished ditch, looking down, studying, head, at Jino's shoulder level. Body long, powerful. In the dark, shining eyes, yellow, vertical pupil. The second, a little farther. Looked at Jino, at the fire. The first raptor saw Jino. Stepped back. 1 step. Involuntary. The body reacted before the mind. Fire, but did not run. Watched, evaluated. Jino walked slowly, did not run. Running? Impossible. Predators react to flight, pursuit instinct. Slowly, straight, with the torch ahead. The second raptor took a step to the side, tried to go around. Jino turned sideways, one eye on the first, the other on the second. Slowly shifted the spear, splashed resin onto the unfinished section of the ditch. Brought the torch close. Flash. Fire shot up. Bright, sudden, high. Both raptors jumped back. Sharply, reflexively. The second made a sound. That same throaty one. Command. Steps from the north moved away. Steps from the west moved away. Both in front of Jino stood, looked at the fire, then at him. The first raptor tilted its head, slowly, as if studying. Jino stood motionless, looked straight into the yellow eyes, did not look away. This is important. Predators read the gaze, looked away, weak. Looking straight, unclear. Unclear is dangerous. Seconds, long. Then the first raptor, I stepped back. 1 step, second, turned, went into the forest, the second after it. Silence. The fire in the ditch burned, small but yet sufficient. Gino stood, breathed. Hands did not tremble. Heart fast, very fast. But hands, calm, returned to the cabin. Everyone looked at him. They left, he said. Closed the door. Bolts. Sat on the floor. Yunseo brought water. Silently, Gino drank. Bei, by the window, looked outside. Clear, he said. They all left. They will come back, Soo-yeon said. Opened the notebook, wrote. What are you writing? Gino asked. Behavior. Without looking up. They acted in coordination. 3 distracted from different sides. 1 searched for a weak spot. This is not their first time. They have already done this before, with someone else. With someone else? Yunseo asked. There were no more people here. Not with people, Soo-yeon said. Pack hunting. This is a practiced tactic. They used it on animals, before they thawed, in that life. They remember. Silence. Muscle memory, Gino said quietly. Yes, or something deeper. Soo-yeon closed the notebook. This means they will keep learning. Each time, a little better. No one objected. Because it was true. Gino lay on his back, looked at the ceiling. The raptors were smarter than they had seemed, but they themselves had also become smarter over these 13 days. The question was who learns faster. The raptors have instinct and the pack. They have reason and a plan. For now, a draw. Tomorrow, they will see. Closed his eyes. Outside the window, the snow fell thicker and thicker. -22, and it kept falling. November 29th, the ditch hut was finished by 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Full perimeter, 42 meters. Depth, 45 centimeters. Width, 1 meter. Filled with dry branches, resinous logs, birch bark, it burns fast and hot. Gino walked around the perimeter. Looked. Bei walked beside him. Enough resin? Bei asked. For 3 full ignitions. Then, only dry branches, they burn slower. So 3 times, and then that is all. Then we will find resin again, pines nearby. Every 2 days and replenish the ditch. Bei nodded, looked at the ditch. Good work. Our work, Gino said. Your idea. An idea is nothing without hands. Bei looked at him, briefly. Something in that look, not entirely readable, not hostile, rather assessing. Like a person who had worked in a hierarchy for a long time and was used to understanding who was in charge. And was looking not because he had not accepted it, but because he was still checking. Gino did not explain, just went back. Evening, Yunseo inspected the medical supplies, laid them out, counted. Aloud. Amoxicillin, a course for 5 people for 3 weeks. Painkillers, a month with moderate use. Bandages, good, many. Iodine, 2 bottles. Antiseptic, 3 vials. Suture material, there is some. Army issue from Bei's backpack. This is little if someone is seriously injured. What is needed? Gino asked. Strong painkillers. Not ibuprofen, ketamine, tramadol. Something real. If a complicated fracture, if a torn wound, without proper pain relief, a person goes into shock. Shock kills faster than the wound. Where to get it? Hospital or pharmacy? Yunseo looked at him. There was a hospital in Hamyang. I came from there. 3 days on foot. 2.5 if you know the road. I know it. Were there people there when you left? A few. Staff who did not manage to evacuate. I do not know what now. And animals, Bei said from the wall. Yes, and animals. Silence. We do not touch that topic for now, Gino said. Medicines. A reserve that is needed but not critical right now. First, safety here, then a raid. Raid, Yunseo repeated. A good word. An accurate word. At night, Soo-yeon did not sleep. Gino noticed, stood up, sat beside him. The boy was sitting with the notebook by the dying stove. Wrote. Crossed out. Wrote again. What? Gino asked quietly. Soo-yeon showed the notebook. On the page, a diagram, drawn by hand. The cabin in the center, around it, marked places where raptors had been seen. Arrows, movement directions, time next to each arrow. Look, the boy said quietly. First approach from the north. Then, an attempt from east and west at the same time. Then, reconnaissance from 3 sides at once. Main attack from the southeast. I see. Every time a different side. Every time a more complicated. But there is a pattern. Gino looked at the diagram. They never come from the south. Suyeon raised his eyes. Yes, not once. 3 approaches. The south is always clear. Why? The boy was silent for a second. I do not know exactly, but from the south the wind is most often. The smell goes north. They approach against the smell. From the north, east, west. From the south, the smell goes directly to them. They do not like it. Our smell. Smoke more likely, Suyeon said. The stove, resin. It is the south. The pipe comes out there. Constant smell of smoke from the south. They go around. Gino looked at the diagram. Correct. The child in 3 days of observations had identified a pattern that Gino himself had not noticed. So what? Gino said. If we need to go out from the southern side. Yes, from the south. Safer. While the wind is from the south. If it changes, everything changes. Track the wind every day. Already tracking it. Suyeon showed another page. Table, days, wind direction, temperature. Approximate without a thermometer, by feel. Here, 10 days. Gino looked at the table. 10 days of observations. Systematic. Without someone else's command. Good, Gino said. Very good. Suyeon did not smile, just nodded. Close the notebook. One more thing, the boy said. What? Today when you stood before the large raptor, looked it in the eyes. It tilted its head before leaving. Yes, I remember. I have seen that movement before. Suyeon was silent. Dogs do that. When they see something unclear, they tilt their head. Study. So it was studying me. Yes. But also, that movement happens when an animal is unsure. When something does not go according to plan. You confused it. It did not understand why you did not run. That threw it off. Gino looked at the boy. You want to say confidence works. Not confidence, Suyeon thought. Unpredictability. They expected you to run. You did not run. That stopped them more strongly than fire. They are afraid of fire, but they will get used to fear. It is harder to get used to the unclear. Long silence. Gino looked at the fire in the stove. You think like a hunter, Sir, he said. No. Suyeon shook his head. I think like prey that does not want to be prey. Gino looked at the 12-year-old boy. Prey that does not want to be prey. This was the best description of survival he had heard. Sleep, Gino said. Early tomorrow. Suyeon lay down, closed his eyes. After a minute, slept. Gino remained sitting, took the boy's notebook, looked at the diagram. South, safe, for now. Wrote it in his own notebook. Then, another thought. Raptors are learning. Each time better. They learn because they are hungry and they have time. The group also has time, as long as there is food and warmth. Who is faster, they will see. But the advantage now is with the group. Need to use it. November 30th. Morning. Baigonshin sat by the entrance and cleaned the pistol. Methodically. Disassembled it, wiped each part, assembled it. Gino sat down beside him. For several minutes, they were silent. Then Gino. Bae, you walked for 3 days from the north. What did you see there? Not animals? The situation. Bae assembled the pistol, inserted the magazine. Past 3 villages, he said evenly. The first, empty. People left in an organized way, visible by the tracks, convoy, cars, took things. The second, different. What in the second? Signs of struggle, broken doors, windows smashed. People did not leave. They were driven out, or left in panic, abandoned everything. Animals? There were tracks, but something else too. Human tracks. Many people. Went in one direction, west. And a burned house. Deliberately. Not by accident. Deliberately. With everything inside. Looters, Gino said. Or worse? Bei looked straight ahead. I saw that in the army. When a group of people decides that rules no longer work, they do not just take someone else's things, they clean up after themselves. Silence. Clean up why? So no one else takes the same after them. Resources are scarce. Competitors are not needed. Gino listened. The third village, he said. The third, there were people. Alive. Bei spoke without intonation. 7 people. Saw from a distance. Armed. Hunting rifles, one something homemade. They saw me, started shouting, "Go away, there is nothing here, go away!" You left. I left. 7 people with rifles against 1 pistol, not my arithmetic. They were just protecting their own, Gino said. Maybe, Bei said. Or maybe from the second village. Long silence. So people are a threat too, Gino said. People are always a threat. Bei looked at him. You should have known that before me. I knew, but theory is one thing. Now practice. Gino stood up, went to the map that Bei had brought. It hung on the wall. Looked. The cabin, away from the main roads. That is good. Random people will not find it easily. But fire at night is visible far away. Yonseo found it by the fire. Others will find it too. This is double-edged. To good people, fire is a beacon. To bad ones, too. Need to think about the fire at night, Gino said. How to hide it from distant observers. Hiding fire in the forest in winter? Difficult, Bei said. Not hide, reduce visibility. The ditch burns. High fire, visible far away. If the ditch only in case of danger, and the rest of the time quiet. The stove inside, pipe outside. Smoke visible during the day, fire at night, no. Then at night we do not ignite the ditch without necessity. Bei said, yes, only on command. Bei nodded. Reasonable. But raptors, without fire they will approach. Torches around the perimeter, small, on stakes. They are at ground level, light downward, not upward, almost invisible from far away. Effect for the raptors is there, from a distance, unnoticeable, Bei thought. Need to check. At night, go farther into the forest. See how visible the cabin is. Good idea. We will do it tonight. I will go, Bei said. You, inside. Together. No, one. Less noise. Faster. I am military. This affair is mine. Gino looked at him. True, this was his field. Reconnaissance, terrain assessment, movement at night. Good, Gino said. But Suyeon watches from here. Signal, 2 whistles. If you do not return in an hour, Kya, we do not go looking. Bei looked at him. Harsh. Honest, Gino said. 1 person is not worth 3. Long silence. Agreed, Bei said. Correct logic. He said this without offense, just agreed with the mathematics. Gino noticed it, and noted it. Bei went out at 2300 hours. Dark, -25. Full moon, the snow reflected light. Visibility, not bad. 20 meters without a flashlight. Bei went without a flashlight. Moved as taught. Slowly, foot, toe first, then heel. Without sudden movements. Breathed into his collar. Steam did not give away his position. 30 meters from the cabin. 50. 80. Turned around. Looked at the cabin. Torches around the perimeter, invisible. Orange dots in the dark, but low. At ground level, from 80 meters, more like fireflies than a beacon. Smoke from the pipe, there is. But at night, against the dark sky, almost invisible. Slightly lighter than the darkness. Only if you know where to look. Good. Moved farther. 100 meters. Stopped. Listened. Forest and quiet. Snow-absorbed sounds, its own silence. Special. Then, to the right. Movement. Bei froze. Did not turn immediately. Slowly, shoulder first, then head. 30 meters to the right, between the trees. Silhouette. Large, very large, not a raptor. Bei looked. The creature stood between 2 pines. Height, 3.5 meters. Body massive, dense. Legs short relative to the body. Head round, large, lowered low. Long nose. Fur, dark, long, hanging down. Mammoth, young. Judging by the size, adolescent. An adult would be twice as large. Stood and looked at Bay. Bay stood and looked at the mammoth. They did not move. Mammoth exhaled noisily. A cloud of steam. Shifted from foot to foot. Slowly, nervously. Frightened, Bay understood. Not aggressive, frightened. Slowly raised his hand. Open palm forward, a gesture meaningless for an animal that does not know humans, but slow, not alarming. The mammoth looked, then lowered its head, began digging the snow with its trunk. Slowly, looking for something under the snow. Grass, frozen grass, hungry. Bay quietly stepped back. 1 step back, 2, without turning away. The mammoth did not react, dug the snow. Bay moved away 20 meters, then turned, went back. In his head, the thought he did not drive away. Mammoth alone, young, hungry. Mammoth means several tons of meat. They survive on plant food, so not directly dangerous, but if cornered, if frightened, it can trample without thinking. And if raptors come upon it, the noise will be enormous. Close to the cabin. Need to keep that in mind. Return to the cabin in 50 minutes. Suyeon, by the door, with a knife, waiting. Clear? Quietly. Clear. Bay entered. Saw a mammoth, young, west of us, about 100 meters. Everyone listened. Bay told about the cabin, visibility, about the torches, about the smoke. Good, Gino said. Now we know. One more thing, Bay said. Sat down, was silent for a second. On the way back, from the north, far. About 2 kilometers. What? Fire. Big. Not a torch, a bonfire. A large bonfire. Silence. People? Gino said. Yes. Bay looked at him. Someone lit a large fire 2 kilometers north, at night, without hiding. Either they do not know it is visible, Gino said. Or they do not care, Bai said. Or deliberately, a signal. A signal to whom? To us, or to others like them, Suyeon wrote in the notebook. Yunseo was silent, thought. Tomorrow, might we look? Gino said. Morning, from afar. I go, Bay said. We go together, Gino said. The others, here. Bay did not argue. December 1st, they went out at 8 in the morning, Gino and Bay. Suyeon, briefing before departure, strict, short. Yonseo and you in the cabin. Door E both bolts. Go out only if necessary. Ditch, do not ignite without extreme need. If after 3 hours we are not back, wait another hour. Then, at your discretion. Suyeon nodded. Yonseo nodded. Suyeon, Gino added. You are the senior. The boy looked at him, then at Yonseo. Yonseo shrugged. I do not care who is senior, as long as everyone is alive. Suyeon accepted this, nodded seriously. Good, they went north. Snow deep, up to the knee in places, moved slowly. Bay went first, read the tracks in the snow, habit. Showed with his hand someone stood here. Here, and a large animal passed, long ago, track covered. Gino walked behind him, looked ahead. After 40 minutes, they smelled smoke. Smell and wood, something else, meat. They exchanged glances. Roasting, Bai said quietly. Or burning, Gino said. Came closer, carefully. Behind the trees, stopped, looked, clearing. Large bonfire, now small, coals. Visible that they had burned a lot at night. Around the fire, people. 8 people, different ages, dressed warmly, each in whatever they had. 2 men with hunting rifles, 1 woman with an axe at her belt, the others without obvious weapons. Aside, 2 tents, army, khaki, cooking. Above the fire on a homemade fork support something hung. Meat, large piece. Spoke quietly, voices, tired. Gino looked at them. 8 people, not aggressive. Sitting openly by the fire, not hiding. 2 with rifles, but guard, not attack. Different ages. There is an elderly woman, there are young people in their 20s. Not an organized group, randomly gathered. Bai quietly. Not from that 3rd village. There were 7 there, and these are 8. Different. Where they are from, we do not know, Gino said quietly. where they're going, also. We go out? Bei was silent for a second. You decide. We go out, Gino said. Slowly. Hands visible. I speak. Bei nodded, moved his hand away from the pistol. They came out from behind the trees. 8 pairs of eyes. Instantly, the 2 with rifles raised them. Reflex. Gino raised his hands. Bei raised, slowly. Peacefully, Gino said. 2 of us, no more. Silence in the clearing. One of the men with a rifle and about 50, large, weathered face, looked without blinking. From where? From the south. Cabin. Saw your fire at night. And came. And came. Why? Gino looked at him directly. To see who you are, a threat or not. The man with the rifle, it did not lower it, but something in his face changed, assessed. Honest, he said. Yes? Do you have weapons? Pistol. He has it. Nodded at Bei. Knife with me. Nothing else. Pistol on the ground. No, Gino said calmly. Again. This is not negotiable, the man said. Then we are not on the same path. Gino did not move. If you want to talk, yes, with weapons. You have 2 rifles, we have 1 pistol. Your advantage remains anyway. Long silence. From behind the riflemen's backs, a woman came out. About 60, small, warm scarf on her head, looked at Gino. Let them lower them, she said to the rifleman. The man with the rifle looked at her. Hansi, lower them, the woman repeated. Without threat, just clearly. Both rifles lowered. The woman approached Gino, looked up at him, small but not weak. My name is Han Bok-soon. I am 61 years old. Before all this, an elementary school teacher. You? Choi Gino, scientist, astrophysicist. Han Bok-soon. Looked at him for a second. You knew, not a question. Yes, Gino said. Long ago? A day before the impact. Why did you not warn people? The government was silent. I had no platform. I spent the time preparing, honestly, without excuses. Han Bok-soon looked at him for a long time. So the cabin is fortified. There are supplies. Not a question. Logic. That is why you came to look, not for help. Correct. Then what? Gino lowered his hands. There are 4 of us, 8 of you. Winter is only beginning. Han Bok-soon listened. Continue. Together, more chances. But I am not saying come to us. The cabin, 4 maximum, no space. I am saying information exchange, coordination. If you have a problem that we can solve, tell us. Back, the same. Allies at a distance, Han Bok-soon said. Yes, the woman thought. For a long time. 8 people looked at her, waited. She is the one who decides for them. Gino understood. Not the rifleman. She... Good, Han Bok-soon said. Sit, eat with us. We will talk. 2 hours in the clearing, meat on the forked support, turned out to be boar. Hunters in the group were 2 young men. Managed to get it yesterday. They ate. Talked. Gino listened more than he spoke. The group gathered by chance, villagers from 2 different places. Went south at first, then ran into raptors near the highway. 2 injured, no one died, but they got frightened. Turned into the forest, found this clearing. They have been here for the 3rd day. Food, enough for a week. Then, only hunting. Hunting experience. 2 have it. Medicine, almost none. 2 with wounds from raptors. Superficial, but inflammation is starting. Gino, to Bei, quietly. Yunseo, he said. Bei understood. Risky. If we say we have a medic, if we do not say and they die from infection, we lose potential allies. Or they come to the cabin. Or we bring the medic here. Once. Examination. Help. Then, they know that we have one but do not know exactly where. Bei thought. 3-hour distance, he said. We will go there and back. It will already be noon. We will make it before dark. Then, we agree now. Tomorrow, Yunseo comes with us. Bei nodded. Gino turned to Han Bok-soon. You have 2 people with inflammation from wounds. The woman was not surprised that he knew. Yes. Tomorrow we will come again. With a medic. In return. Information. What you saw on the way here. Everything you saw. Han Bok-soon looked at him. What exactly are you interested in? Everything, Gino said. Every detail. They walked back. Bei was silent for the first 20 minutes. Then, without looking, you trust them. No, Gino said, but I use them. Difference? Trust emotion. Use calculation. They need us. We need them. As long as interests coincide and we cooperate. If they stop coinciding, we reconsider. Bei walked. Are you like that with everyone? He asked. With us too? Gino was silent. With everyone. Calculation first. With you. Calculation coincided with what I think of you as a person. That is different. What do you think of me as a person? That you will not abandon, Gino said. When it is hard. You will not leave. Long silence. How do you know? You clean the pistol every day, Gino said. Not because it is necessary. Because order. People who keep order in small things keep it in large things too. Bei did not answer. They walked. Snow creaked underfoot. -27. Evening, cabin. They told Yunseo and Soo-yeon about the group. Yunseo agreed immediately. Professional reflex. The wounded needed it. Soo-yeon wrote in the notebook everything Gino had told about the group. Silently, then raised his head. Han Bok-soon. Teacher. Yes. She decides there. Yes. Why does she decide? There are men with weapons there. Because they trust her, Gino said. Not because she is physically stronger, because she is an anchor, calm. When everyone is in panic, someone who does not panic is needed. They hold on to her. Soo-yeon considered it. Like you for us, Wani said. Gino looked at him. Approximately? You do not panic, the boy said. Not flattery, just observation. I observed. When the raptors at night, you stood up and thought. Did not shout, did not run around. That holds the others. Yunseo did not look, but listened. Bei looked into the fire. Everyone holds something, Gino said. Bei holds safety. Yunseo holds health. You hold information. I hold the plan. And if the plan turns out to be wrong? Bei asked. Then we change the plan. Not the people, the plan. The fire in the stove crackled. Warmth. Outside at -28. Already. At 22:40, the alarm system, one can. Western side. Then, second. Same side. Not raptors, a different rhythm. They stood up. Weapons, positions. Soo-yeon to the western observation hole. Looked. For a long time. There is something there, he said quietly. But not a raptor. What? By nearby. I do not know, Soo-yeon said. And that was the first time the boy said those words. Gino came closer. Looked through the gap. Western side. Dark. Torches around the perimeter were burning. Weakly, small. Then he saw. At the very edge of the perimeter. About 3 meters from the outermost torch. A silhouette. Not large, not small. Roughly human-sized. But not human. Different proportions. Not those. It crouched. The movement smooth, flexible. Turned its head. Gino saw the profile. Elongated snout. Short front limbs pressed to the body. Hind limbs long, powerful. Not a raptor, and the snout was different. Longer. Narrower. What is that? Bei said quietly. No one answered. The creature sat. Looked at the cabin. Did not move. A minute passed. 2, 3. It simply sat and looked. Then Soo-yeon. Very quietly. Protoceratops. Everyone looked at the boy. What? Bei said. Protoceratops. Herbivorous dinosaur. Cretaceous period. Size like a large sheep. Elongated snout. Front legs shorter than hind legs. Walks on 4 but looks as if it is constantly crouching. Herbivore? Gino said. Yes. So not dangerous. Directly, no, Soo-yeon said. But if frightened, it bites. Hard. Jaws powerful, to gnaw tough leaves. And If it is here, raptors may be nearby. Raptors hunted protoceratopses. Where there is one, the others may be close. Bay. To the weapon. No, Gino said. We wait. They watched. The creature slowly stood up, came closer to the torch, stopped, sniffed the air, visible by the movement of the snout, then lowered its head to the ground, began digging the snow, like the mammoth. Grass under the snow. Hungry. Herbivore, Gino repeated quietly. Hungry. Looking for food. It did not come to us. It came to the torch. Warmth and light. Like a moth. A moth the size of a sheep, Bay said. Yes, Gino agreed, without irony. They watched for several more minutes. The protoceratops dug the snow, found something, chewed, slowly, did not look at the cabin, then raised its head, looked straight at the window, as if it sensed that it was being watched. A long second, turned away, went back into the darkness, disappeared behind the trees. Silence. Gone, Suyeon said. Gone, Gino repeated. Bay lowered the pistol. Yunseo exhaled. Quietly. Suhyun was already writing in the notebook. First animal that came not to attack. Wrote. Came for warmth. This is important. Why is it important? Yunseo asked. The boy raised his eyes. Because warmth attracts not only predators, he said, and not only people. So there will be more and more animals around the cabin, herbivores included. And where there are herbivores, there are predators. Silence. We have become the center of the ecosystem, Gino said. Yes, Suyeon said. Whether that is good or bad, I do not know yet. Lay down on the mat. Closed his eyes. Thought. Gino, by the stove. Added firewood. Center of the ecosystem. Life is gathering around the cabin. Different. Dangerous and not. All hungry. The winter will be long. Very long. Outside is -29. December has only begun. Looked at the fire. Thought. Planned. Always planned.